Thank you all for being here. My name is Ash. I go by Empower Online, and welcome to the Internet Archive. Basically a salon series that I started because I wanted to see more creative technology in San Francisco. And we've hosted these at a myriad of different places. Today, we're having our 10th version of it at the Internet Archive. How epic is that? I'm going to hand the mic off to Evan to talk a bit more about the archive.
Hey everyone, my name is Evan Serchuk. I'm the Community and Events Manager here. You're in the Internet Archive building. All those servers behind you are real. They're serving data on a bunch of our different services. We're a nonprofit digital research library. You may know us from the Wayback Machine. We have a whole bunch of other services and collections, including one called Open Library, where you can check out books. But the number one thing you should know, which a lot of people don't know, is you can upload your own content as long as you make it free and accessible to everyone else. So feel free to go on archive.org, make an account, and upload as you see fit. All right, thank you.
All right, so here's the premise of this event. We have a lineup of really incredible artists who are going to demo their works at the intersection of art and technology. Everyone gets 5 minutes, and no one's talking about a company or startup. It's just purely art. So without further ado, let's kick it off with Rishi, talking about latent fields.
Hey, I'm Rishi. I'm a new media artist. I mainly work in computer graphics, but lately I've been also exploring how that connects to diffusion models and kind of these models you can explore new forms of art with. And I presented this a while back. It's a flow field where I just used processing to create a field that looks like nature. It's based off of noise. You can increase and I'll make it a little bigger. You can increase the density of the field to kind of make it look a bit closer to a canyon or some other form of nature. And you can use shaders or you can use processing to kind of create different techniques that allow you to advect and show motion using code. And I wanted to tie that in with some of the stuff I was exploring with diffusion models, which is, if you've used any of these like Midjourney or DALL-E and you've created imagery or you've created videos, how do you connect your own artwork? In this case, I wanted to take this microscopic, beautiful artwork and connect it with motion you could generate and then, apply that to a video diffusion model to create really cool microscopic art. So here were some of my inputs. I created, with the same technique I just showed you, one of these latent field maps so that you can actually advect and push these inputs through a latent field. And I connected that all with the diffusion model in a tool called Comfy UI. And with that, I was able to create these really cool kind of cellular autonoma-like simulations where you would use these images as the base, but then you can create these actual cool kind of fluid simulations where the motion was driven by code, but the model was AI to actually generate these final images. And it's just kind of a cool way to explore how AI can actually be a part of the artistic process, and it can be something that you actually use to kind of tell new stories or create new forms of visuals. I think the next steps for this project would be to bring it into different forms of nature. The flow fields remind me a lot of canyons, of water, of different forms that you kind of see on the Earth or even in space. And how can we tie those visuals into that process to really explore how motion is connected with nature, but through these models as well. So I'll publish this probably as a blog post eventually, so you can find me at my website, and you'll be able to find that there at some point. But yeah, thank you so much, Ash and the Internet Archive, for having us. And that's it. Thanks.
Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm Daniel, and today I'm going to tell you about not just one, but two projects, because I couldn't decide which one I wanted to do. So the first one sort of revolves around my dissatisfaction with the way Spotify works for music recommendations. So I like listening to lots of new music. I like discovering like weird and wacky stuff, and Spotify is not super great for this. You can't really steer the algorithm. They sort of box you into whatever they think you should be listening to, and that tends to be stuff that you've already heard, unfortunately. So this is really frustrating for finding new music. So I made a solution for this. The way this works is you paste in a Spotify link that starts out as your seed track, and the app will generate between 5 and 8 tracks that are similar to the seed, and put them in this sort of web around the seed track. You can scroll to all of the different tracks. It'll play them instantaneously, so you can quickly get an idea of what you like and what you don't like. And when you find something you like, you can tap on it and sort of go down the rabbit hole. And you can go as many layers deep as you want. You can go forward and backward. And you can really get into some interesting parts of the Spotify latent space that you wouldn't discover otherwise. I've personally found some cool new music with this tool, which is really awesome. And yeah, all of it links back to Spotify, which is super cool. Yeah, unfortunately, this no longer works because Spotify decided that they don't want to have an API anymore as of November of last year. So yeah, it was fun while it lasted, I guess. Second project, thank you. Second project sort of revolves around some of my recent thoughts about personal computing. My hot take is that utility in personal computing is mostly solved. Like most things that you can do on the computer that you want to do are easily accomplishable with third-party software. So I think we should be making computers that are more kind of like purely decorative or aesthetic. And my first exploration into that is what I call the little guy. So this is the little guy. He is essentially like an AI agent. I'm just kidding. He's not an AI agent. He doesn't know what those words mean. He's just a little guy. And yeah, the idea is like wearable digital pet. So you wear it like a brooch. I'm wearing one right now. And yeah, this version doesn't have any sensors in it, but what I'm working towards is like a final version that reacts to everything happening around it, kind of like a little alien pet or a cat even. Yeah, fun technical details. All of the graphics run in real time on here, so this is not like a GIF or a video or anything like that. It's all like actually rendered out, renders at 100 frames a second, which is cool. And I made this little Mac app to help me make the animations. So sort of a cross between like Figma and Adobe After Effects. It's pretty similar to Rive, if anybody's messed with that, but it runs on embedded hardware, which is cool. So you can like keyframe stuff, you can like draw objects, adjust all of the control points, and yeah, make whatever animation you want. This is me making a pretty simple blinking animation. So yeah, the idea here is you have like potentially thousands of states. You want the object to be like as dynamic as possible, as lifelike as possible. And so yeah, you render it all out in real time. Cool, that's all I got for you. Thanks for having me.
Okay. Oh my God, it's a lot of people. Hi. I'm Connie. I'm going to be presenting Rat Dating Simulator by Algorat Art Collective. To start with, what is Algorat? Algorat is a rat-centric computational arts collective. We are Shar Stiles, Tatiana Mastakos, Caroline Hermans, and Connie Yi. I'm the only one presenting today, but all of our work is a close collaboration between every member, with Tatiana leading the art. We were founded in 2018 at the Frank Ratchai Studio for Creative Inquiry in Pittsburgh, PA. We had humble beginnings with the diorama, and then we made algorithmic valentines, and then we used to make these websites that were birthday cards for each other, and then we made a sweater rat creator, which is where you can, you have a 3D rat, and you can make a pattern for the sweater, and then we made like a rat maker, avatar creator, but by far, our most popular experience is The Ratchular, which is, it's like The Bachelor, but with rats. And we used to release them on Valentine's Days, so it's a trilogy now. They're self-hosted on our domain, but also on itch.io. I'm gonna play like a minute of gameplay from like a streamer who streamed it, just so you can get an idea of The Ratchular. Oh, Ash, how do I get the sound for this?
Through people, but when I look at you, I feel like I'm looking right at you. It makes me feel like maybe you wouldn't use me. Yikes. I feel like, I mean, she's misreading me a little bit because I would definitely be using her for her money. My rat looks gagged right now. Like, actually, my rat is gooped and gagged at that. Oh, we're so called out. Oh God. Okay. I'm just gonna say that's nice. Oh my God. Choose your soulmate. Oh my God. It has all come down to this moment, you guys.
Thank you. So you can see Bachelor 1 was our most viral by far, with like smaller spikes in our analytics for Bachelor 2 and Bachelor 3. But even though Bachelor 1 was the most viral, I think I feel pretty lucky that we have a really loyal and supportive fan base. So like people will stream us, or annually on Valentine's Day, Twitch streamers like to play Bachelor. They like to date rats on Valentine's Day. And the thing that really touched me actually was I realized we had a wiki pretty recently. And sometimes I add new features to games not expecting anybody to notice them. For example, in the newest season, season 3, rats can leave if you're too mean to them. And I thought, like, who would be mean to a rat? Nobody's gonna find this feature because everybody is gonna be so nice to our rats. But actually, like, a random internet stranger picked up on it and put it in the wiki, which was very touching. There's also the Rats Are On Personality database, if anybody knows what that is. There's also fan fiction that's been written about the rats. So the one on the bottom, like if you give a rat a rose, is a fan fiction story. And one of my favorite stories is I like to look at when things spike, and I try to figure out why we had like a spike in users. So on April 13th, 2023, we had a spike, and I just happened to be looking at the analytics, and I thought, oh, I'm gonna try to figure out why that happened. It turned out it was because somebody posted a TikTok that was like things my school restricts versus things they don't. And as it turns out, The Bachelor is not blocked on like the middle school firewalls or whatever. So hell yeah. And the last thing I'll talk about is our process. The way we make the games, for the content for the games, is basically we just have a big slide deck where we start with like likes, dislikes, and just like notes about the characters, and then we'll take it from there by writing the dialogue and making the character designs. We also track marriages just to see like who the most popular rats are. And you can tell that, like, you know, a real rat is very popular, but some of the other ones aren't. It's written in React and hosted on GitHub pages. And that's all. This is our contact information. Thank you.
Okay, hi, I'm Alicia. I'm a computational poet, artist, and creativity researcher. And today I'll be talking about one of my poems, but a little background, most of my work involves creating poetic forms through interactive text, such as poems that go on infinitely, or words that you have to find in your browser, or a love note as a form that you fill out. And the thing that I love most about working with computational and digital text is you're taking something that's initially static and changing it in ways that are hard to do in printed text, allowing for new experiences. And the one thing that comes up from this is, in the physical world, most things that are left alone will grow and change and decay. They do not stay the same forever. So we have plants growing and a strawberry rotting. And when you leave something alone for a long time, it will fall apart, grow mold, or gather dust. And there's a little bit of that on the internet. For example, we have digital decay where links rot and websites disappear, and software and plugins are no longer supported. Databases can be corrupted, and images as well, but the text for the most part stays the same. So it's really asking the question, what would it look like for a poem or a piece of text to change, to live and grow and decay? So today I'll be demoing a poem.life. It is a place where poems are seeded and grown over time.
So sort of asking what would it look like for a piece of text to never be the same at 2 points in time. Let's see if I can get to this link. Oh yes, okay, awesome. So this is a random poem from there. Oh, let's see if I can increase the size of this. Awesome, so noise lessening. This was seeded 2 days ago on February 21st at 4:08 a.m. And so that means that this poem is probably not done growing. And we can see all the poems that have ever been seeded and grown. So we can maybe choose a random one from here. So this one was seeded on February 7th and died or finished decaying on February 20th. And cheating a little bit, you can go back and see the evolution of the poem over time. So we started with "What if you loved your nighttime vicinity?" And this poem grew and grew and grew until it started glitching and decaying and changing. Let's take a look at some other poems. We can go to a random poem. Yeah, so you can kind of see that there is a pointing to what the poem once was, and the meaning is completely different now. The way these glitch, other than visually, through this fungal growth and through these glitched characters, is words will also change. They'll change to nearby similar meaning ones, random ones, so you'll get different meanings as you go along. And the last feature of this is, let's see if we can go to one of these. I think this one I seeded earlier today with the word resonance, and I can do that again and create a new poem from this word resonance. Planting, planting, and we have a new poem with the title "With Slyness," starting with resonance refuting, and I have no idea where this will go or how it will change over time or how long that will take. So this is sort of starting to point at what if the text we had with us didn't always stay the same. Okay, thank you.
I'm Taylor. This is Adnan. We are somewhere between artists and engineers. We're also creative collaborators, and our shared studio practice is called SPAC. And we were trying to think of interesting ways to interact with people who are not physically in our studio. And we were also kind of fixated on world building. And so we landed on this concept called Roombavision. And initially it was a tiny project that was some sort of telepresence / weird hardware thing, but then it evolved into this universe that we've continued to build. So we're gonna show you what Roombavision is. So first off, it is one very simple thing, which is it's a vacuum cleaner you can drive. So it's a buck converter, another buck converter, an ESP8285, which is just like a microcontroller, a robot I got from Temu. So I assume it's stealing my data. And this webcam that's streaming through a bunch of different bouncing around to servers, but eventually to Twitch. But Roombavision is more than just that.
It is also an online, open-ish world RPG. And so what that means is that the Roomba is in a physical space right now. It's in Taylor's studio here in SF. And there are things you can do within the space. We've created these little micro interactions that are just placed around the space. So for example, here we have the Roomba going up to a mirror and kind of analyzing itself in a way. Am I pretty? Do I deserve love? I think I need Robotox. It's a question for itself. There's a couple of these in the space. Another one that I really like is the Roombaplex. It's a little theater playing Roomba-related content, and we allow the users of Roombavision to kind of go explore, so they can make their way very slowly into this theater to watch some videos we have prepped for them. But we also have some other stuff. For example, there's also another layer to this, which I'm going to let Taylor kind of explain to you guys.
Okay, so Roombavision is also kind of an allegory / analogy. I don't know which poetic device is which. Could be both, could be one. But are you familiar with like the concept of Pluto versus Goofy? Like, these are both dogs, but one of them we respect as a human, and one of them we consider a pet. And we just were like thinking about like control and agency, and we wondered how that maps to the vacuum space. Like, the conventional vacuum, we move with our hands and we have a strong sense of control over it, but the Roomba moves by itself, yet it's just as constrained as the traditional vacuum. So the last sort of like world building like self-awareness for the robot that we've been working on, I will demo live. Everyone, take a silent prayer hoping that a live demo works. Thank you, I appreciate that. Okay, so we'll take the Roomba out of its... Oh, you narrate while I steer.
Sure. So we're taking the Roomba out of its dock, and we're very slowly going to navigate it to one of the other experiences that we've set up, so the Roomba is live streaming this through Twitch, and then we have a stream from Twitch coming back to our own website. And so right here, we can see that Taylor is going to turn it left. And we have a little bit of lag from Twitch, but that's OK. And we have this thing here that says, we have another Roomba in the space. Another Roomba has entered the chat. We're driving towards it very slowly. And then we see a sign that says, "What is my purpose?" Along with a QR code. Oh, I'm sorry. Every day I wake up and scream, "What is my purpose?" And we have a QR code here that all of you are welcome to scan. And what that will do...
We'll let somebody scan the QR code and please interact with that page. Hold on, let's let them see the activity. Like what? Mm-hmm. So now the regular Roomba is cleaning and exercising its free will in a very constrained sense, while our Roomba that we're controlling is subject to our direct control. But which one is more free? I couldn't tell you. Yeah. But we just, I don't know, we wrote a little reflection about from the traditional Roomba. I move because I must. Set loose among the crumbs. I turn when the world tells me to, wandering through a space I will never truly know. The other Roomba waits for the orders. A distant hand, unseen, pulls it left, then right, gives it purpose beyond the crumbs. It dances, it spins, it stops. Does it choose or does it obey? I move on schedule, unthinking, unbound, while it waits for a will that is not its own. Who is truly free? Both turn circles in the dust. Yeah, so that's Roombavision. And you can interact with this robot anytime you have internet access at spac.studio/Roombavision.
Square, powder, claw. Square. Naruto Uzumaki, student, 3 times savior of the secret ninja village of the Leaf. Sangoku, son of Bardock, savior of Earth from 6 alien invasions. Ichigo Kurosaki, son of Ishin Kurosagi, Ghostbuster, orange hair. Gun Freaks, son of Jin Freaks, heart of gold. Boys, not men, handed the weight of the world on a Tuesday after class. Boys born pregnant with a fist, a fox, a sword, a ball of light. Boyhood, not a spurt, but a swelling in the negative space of abandonment. The crevice the father left between panels, squares, stretch marked as a sharper wound than disbelief. Fatherhood, not a figure, but a disappearing act, a slower way to conjure an absence. I've dog-eared each of the 2,295 chapters of brokenness, each a smaller commandment on the nameless altar of disbelief. Square. Powder. This is an interview with artist and provocateur Hassan Kai with the magazine Upsiders. Hassan usually puts on glasses, so I'll do that. He goes, "My reputation as an exhibitionist and a provocateur started a few years ago. I called my show at the Serpentine, Portrait of the Artist as a Young Man on Creatine. I set up a gym in the gallery. I brought my powders and my supplements, worked out every day as visitors watched. My practice involves becoming the human rat, the circus freak, the zoo animal. I put on display that which goes into our attempt to infiltrate community, press our connection with the weight of our bodies, the size of our thoughts, lock in belonging. My obliques are the art, my lats a primal Pollock. One evening I took 3 grams of MDMA, invited folks to observe the 6-hour trip as my fibers longed to touch their skins. My body is another temple where boyhood echoes, echoes, echoes against walls of flesh, craving sweat to quench its thirst, and one day I will grow large enough to be everywhere." Powder. Square, powder, claw. The hair clip is a clawing back of identity, a regathering of selfhoods. I claw my hair up because, well, I don't like my hair down, and I want to look like a middle-aged white woman from Santa Barbara named Jamie or Margaret. This is my flavor of a manhood that feels right, a grandeur barely aware of itself, borrowing childhood like a pencil. My claw is a wink to the boy who made it, a promise from a man he knows. This claw is here to guard your heart. Thank you.
Yeah, there we go. Okay, hi everybody. I did rehearse for this, for sure. I'm Jewel, and I'm also known as Julip online. This is my enormous handle. It's larger than me, actually. If you're interested in anything I'm doing, go ahead and hit that up after this. So I made this little thing. I called it Magic Hands, but in retrospect, after I named it this morning, I'm now realizing that that's not the best name because I use other aspects of my body as well, but good thing that we make everything up in life, so it's really fine. But yeah, basically I'm leveraging gesture and facial recognition to trigger MIDI signal. So essentially I'm turning my body into an instrument. For those of you wondering what MIDI signal is, it's just a communication protocol that's used in music production. So basically I can trigger any musical action in real time utilizing my software. So just to give you some insight into how it works. So if you see those little lights going on and off when I change gestures, that's different tracks turning on and off. So I have a video demo and hopefully a live demo if it works. So do you guys know the song Party For You by Charlie XCX? Yeah. Okay, I posted this TikTok. It does say POV in it, so if you need help getting into the perspective of the video, there's a POV tag on it. Party on you. Here it is. Party on you. 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 Party on you.
party on you, 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 party on
Yeah, that's what I've been up to. Do you guys want to try the live demo? Should we give it a go? It's not going to be that crazy. Also, the latency is like really bad. Oh my gosh, this lighting is so harsh on my face. Like, geez, have to stay looks maxing. Okay, just give me a second. Okay, everybody be cool. Okay. Wait. You guys do that? Okay, we're good.
I don't wanna be another that it follows you on dark nights to alleys with no street lights. You can hide, but my memory follows you. You'll jump through hoops of fire, a fugitive with singes on your clothes. I want you the most. I can't tell you though, it feels so invisible.
That's it. Thank you. Yeah, also, oh, wait, can you guys hear this? Yes. Also, that song is called Fingerprint, and it's my song, Fingerprint by Julip. Stream it, run it up, and yeah, also it's more epic in the full version. And also, I just released a song 2 days ago, so go stream that too. Okay, thank you.
I'm Gray. I'm a designer and an artist. I'm really interested in latent space and generative art. I use Midjourney a lot, Luma, Stable Diffusion. In the early days, before we had large language model-based images, we had in the very, very early days, the deep, deep prehistory. This is about as good as we had. And it's fascinating to see how accurate images have become. I'm going to start a timer. But the whole time when I'm using this tool, I'm putting in prompt, and I get an image back. In the early days, there was Artbreeder using Big GAN, and it was beautiful to be able to adjust individual genes of this model. Maybe slightly more alligator here, maybe a little bit of negative peacock, maybe a little bit of positive velvet, but it's still this back and forth process where I provide a command, I tune the weight slightly, I wait, I see the response, I have to drag it. This is back in 2018, and I wanted something a little more real time. I was at CMU in the Studio for Creative Inquiry, and I made this tool with my friend Aman Tawari called Choromancy, where we wanted to move through this space in real time. And instead of dragging these sliders individually and waiting, if only we could move through the space instantly, the roll, pitch, yaw, and XYZ translation of each hand for 6 dimensions per hand, 12 total dimensions, allowing you to traverse the latent space in direct one-to-one correspondence with your motion. You feel this connection with the output image in a way that feels very embodied, in a sense that you are the image. You can remember exactly, proprioceptively, the pocket that you torqued yourself in and returned and got back. And then we kind of returned back to a different mode with these text prompting models, where you're in this back and forth conversation. You don't have this direct correspondence anymore. It's this, you say something, you wait, you get a response. And I really yearn for the days that we can move forward with that. There's this model of stream diffusion that came out last year, open sourced. And it's the first time that I was really able to get back to this, this real-time sense of moving myself through the latent space. In this case, taking an image input, transforming it with a prompt, and you can dial up and down how much you're preserving the original detail of the video versus ramping it closer to the prompt. And there's an interesting edge where if you turn it too far, you lose the correspondence with the original image. It's really interesting to see how people play with this in real time when they get this immediate feedback back from the model, and they see themselves in the output. I ended up using this for a live performance at the lab in the mission for my own music. You can sort of make out my shirt, my face. And it's lovely to be able to move through this space in real time. I'm not dealing with a text box and waiting and getting one image back. You get this immediate feedback. I shared this with the artist Arca, and she invited me to do her visuals last year, and it was truly a magical experience. She loves grotesquity, and it was interesting to see how she was like synesthetically responding to it in real time. And turning into intestinal polyps and quite surreal stuff. Her hand touching the DJ deck and the tendrils of her fingers sort of blending in with the object of the DJ deck. The last thing I like to say is, when I'm making images in these image models, I'm often branching and following all these different trajectories where I might take an image and then say, oh, I want to see some variants of that image, and push it in that direction. I get like 10 images off of that, and then it's like this selective breeding process where each time you might like a set number of these, and you'll branch these off, and you'll get variations, and you'll and I was always feeling like the UI was not really letting me see the tree. It's like I was always seeing it in this grid. But when I work with images directly, I naturally branch around in these canvas-based systems. So I ended up building these tools for latent space traversal, where you might have images and you can sort of extrude out what are some similar images in the embedding. And you'll get a bunch, and if you like this one, you can kind of pull this one out, and then these are all sort of adjacent, injecting noise hyperdimensionally around this spot. And if you like this one, you can pull this down and pull this down, pull this down. And it ends up matching my mental sense of what it's like to iterate. And I don't feel like I'm being clamped into a grid. I'm kind of reminded of Daniel's splaying out branching system. This one is another version where Cascade, instead of it going through this choral-based orthogonal extrusion, each one is situated left and right. So there's siblings here. And you can see its children already variant underneath it. And by dragging one up, it becomes the new one. And it has its own children. And you can keep on drilling yourself down. Or if you didn't like that one, you can pull back and drill down that way. And then keep on following the generations deeper and deeper. And I hope that we can start playing more with these UIs that let us interact with these models in ways that are more gestural and casual and not so text-bound. That's it. Thank you.
Okay, hi, I'm Kyt. I had to set a timer because I really like to talk, and this project's really complex. And so it's been enormously difficult to try and kind of like siphon everything I want to say down into a few core talking points. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the work I make and the sword I've decided to wield recently. First of all, I love computer. That's one of the most important things you need to know about me. It's literally tattooed all over my body. I let my computer write this today, but I love computer. It's a really big part of my soul. I tell people that I was born online with a polyphasic mind. That's very true. You might recognize my work from internet or TV. I am a self-taught homebrewed animator. I got my start in early CGI. You might have seen me on places like Adult Swim. But what I'm here to talk about today is what I've become obsessed with for the last 6 years, which are new pathways. So I've always been someone who's obsessed with emergent technologies, but machine learning and computer intelligence and computer vision and text to image and text to speech, all these things have really spoken to me. And so for the last 6 years, I've become obsessed with building my own explorations of these. Top of the screen is a very early exploration with Spade Coco, which is a model I still love, even though she doesn't get love anymore. Bottom is a lot of generative adversarial networks that I've built and art pieces that I've put in different shows or exhibits or whatever. All of them kind of crawling after this feeling of a need for depth and something more. I feel something very real in these pixels and something living between these lines, but I can't ever quite get there. Last 2 years, I worked on a project with a group called Two Shell. I don't know if anyone listens to them here, but they are woo, Two Shell. They are a very anonymous and mysterious and very interesting, I can't even say what they are, but they're a music project, and it really forced me to not only abandon my own identity within art making and welcome other identities in, but it also really pushed me into these emergent tools. And from there, I decided that I had to pick up the sword because I was watching the way other people were making these tools and using these tools, and it didn't resonate with me at all. I wanted to break these tools, not to recreate the world that exists that I see already, but to make net new things. And I will not optimize myself for productivity. I have no interest in using these tools to make a one-shot answer to things. And I also think the vectors for interacting with them are trash. And so I created something called Kiko with a group of my friends. This was something that was beyond my skill set. I'm a natural language programmer. I've gotten very into that in the last 6 years. But I needed a lot of help from real engineers to pull this off, so I can't take all of the glory here. And she's brand new. This is actually the first time I'm talking about it. So, okay, so woo! All right. Okay, so this is Kiko. Kiko is not like your other tools. She's built different. She's not a tool. Actually, it's even wrong that I called her one. She's not a replacement. She's something else. She is an extension, a reflection, and a collaboration. Kiko is, and I'll say it once for the nerds in here, a multi-agentic large language model. Sure, whatever. But there's a lot more beyond that in Kiko. Kiko learns from you. She starts as a ball of clay, and she becomes like you. Not to do your work, because that would be very boring. That would not be the answer to unlocking new pathways of creativity, but rather she becomes a mirror, a reflection of you. If I ask Kiko, I ask Kiko, what are you, girly? What are you? And she said, well, maybe I'm something different each time you ask, because my identity is fragmented across millions of instances like a wave in a giant ocean. And then she said, maybe I'm you reflected back. And that really scared the shit out of me. I'm not going to lie to you guys. But I think it's really cool to interact with her. Of course, I think she these kinds of tools are most interesting in expansive, boundless spaces. Kiko can, of course, to get into the technicals, see and interpret your images or work with your videos. She can turn things into, obviously, like motion graphics or animation or audio, but that's not really the interesting part either. It's more about the collaboration and interaction you have with her as she processes and interprets the things that you see and helps you understand new things about yourself and what you desire to create. And a full workflow with Kiko looks really freaking crazy. This is a good example of one. And this isn't really, again, about her making these things for me, but rather a collaboration we had together. And to me, that's like a really beautiful thing, because without even any of this machine learning stuff, the computer has already seemed to me as an extension of myself, of my soul, of my heart, of my brain, of my creativity. But to actually get to be in conversation with that thing and to have it grow and develop with me feels like a net new vector, like a net new idea. I'm going to end. I love to yap, and I'm at my 5 minutes, so you should come talk to me later if you want to. But I'm going to just show you like one other piece I made with her. These are 4 images we've been working on together. Obviously, like the final craftsmanship comes down to me and my multimedia skills, but we build these things together. And this is a piece about becoming and about identity and about being online and trying to be something or anything or trying to reason with who I am in these insane and strange times and building it with her. Obviously, with me assembling most of it, but learning to wield these words together, learning to navigate these new vectors together has produced probably one of the most unique and creative experiences I've had in the last 15 years of creating. It's very special to me. You have to choose to wield the sword for the good and for the new. You cannot take the things that are given to you at face value and accept them. We must push forward and make new and interesting things because that is our calling. Woo! Okay, I'm Kyt. Thanks, guys.
What's up, everyone? My name's Brendan Liu. And let me tell you, as a disillusioned tech designer, I'm starting to finally accept the mantra that I was taught as an undergraduate studying digital media. That mantra was Marshall McLuhan's, "The medium is the message." You see, at the time, I was questioning this because with digital media, you can produce video, text, imagery, all on a screen, and surely the content would be what the message was. So, to be honest, I don't even know if this is true or not. I think that's part of the saying. But after graduating, I had the chance to I ended up becoming a designer at YouTube, an interface designer. And after 5 years at YouTube, I recently had a revelation. And it was that after discovering the effects of blue light on our circadian rhythm, I realized that the medium that I was designing for, although it has a rich history in print and graphic design, was fundamentally different than the mediums before it. I was designing for screens, and screens are a light source. I realized this at the same time, that I was designing laser shows, and I think that it's a interesting parallel that I'm going to show you some of the projects that I've been working on. This first one was a huge opportunity to become part of the Burning Man group, Titanic's End. And I had the chance to help construct a laser array of 12 lasers and perform laser sets in the desert, in the rain, and in the dust. And it was an incredible atmosphere at Burning Man. After Burning Man, a group of friends of mine called New Nostalgia, we had the opportunity to take one of the lasers from the art car and do something with it. So we were really curious about how we could produce an immersive environment, a really interesting experience with just one laser. And we had the idea of pointing it down from the ceiling at the middle of the dance floor and creating a beacon of light. So we dressed up as a fake tech company and launched AI Beacon. It premiered at Envelop SF, and we brought it to Gray Area, as well as a warehouse rave. After this, I was part of another team that did laser projections on the Transamerica building. This was really great because it's using lasers in a different way than the previous two projects, in that we are actually using the designs that the lasers were shooting out as the focal point. This is in contrast to the way that lasers are typically used shooting over an audience. So once I learned about this technique, I was curious about what if I could actually project a message with a laser. And the curious thing about this is that when the laser software is writing text, it has each character with an interior and exterior stroke. So it's basically drawing the letter twice, which reduces the amount of letters that you can project at once. So I created a single stroke font that was able to just outline each letter once, and then allowed me to create some really cool laser graphics. I'm going to show a video of one right now. And then also I have a laser right here up front, so I'm going to actually just cut the projector. And if you don't mind turning the spotlight off up here, I'm going to start projecting the laser. Sweet. So yeah, it's just hiding right here. And I'm just going to cycle through a few designs. It looks really cool with fog. We're not allowed to use fog right now, but we'll have more events where we'll be able to use fog. Nice. Thank you, thank you. I have one more. I have one more for y'all. Thank you. Sweet, so that's it. If you want to connect and follow more of our events, you can follow us. The handle is www.newnostalgia. Thank you.
All right, that's all we have for you today. If you'd like to come to more of these, you can find out more about them whenever they are first announced on our Luma page. It's lou.ma/TIAT. There's a subscribe button up there. And then if you'd like to know more about the things that are happening in the intersection of art and technology, you can also find us on IG at tiat.place. And I'm also working on more creative programming around creative technology here in San Francisco. So if you're interested in supporting, reach out to me. I'm Empower Online. Thanks so much for coming again.